everyone, my name is Trickywi, but you could call me Tricky, and welcome to another top 10 video. I know that most of my top 10s revolve around Pokemon, but ever since Five Nights at Freddy's 1 came out, I've been dying to make a top 10 about it. I honestly really love the lore. A lot of people think it's overrated, but honestly it's all in good fun. Joining me today is the one and only Razzbowski.
Hey everyone, Razzbowski here, and it's an honor to be over here on Trickywi's channel. Thank you very much for having me on today's video. I am so hyped for this top 10 video.
But anyway, Raz and I will be discussing our top 10 hopes for Five Nights at Freddy's 4. Be sure to put your own hopes in the comment section below. Don't forget to leave a like, and I hope you guys enjoy this video. Taking our number 10 spot is the return of the original animatronics. One of the many things that makes Five Nights at Freddy's such an interesting topic and video game series are the characters. The original animatronics have made such an impact because of their uniqueness, their designs, pretty much everything about them. But there's so many mysteries that still kind of float around, and those mysteries are what makes these characters so interesting. Of course, we have seen different versions of Bonnie, Chica, Foxy, and Freddy himself in every game that was released, but as long as they play a large role in the fourth game, I'll be happy. The third game was interesting with only having Springtrap, or one animatronic that would pose a threat to you, which he was completely terrifying, I understand that, but having all of the original characters coming back would definitely be a little bit more thrilling for the final chapter of Five Nights at Freddy's. And I'm pretty sure that Scott has a lot of things planned for us, and they're probably gonna make me cry because I'm a titty baby, but I'm honestly excited to see what is in store for us.
In at number 9, guys, we have got more use of the cameras. The great thing about Five Nights at Freddy's 3 was the camera usage, and I want to see some more of that in play. In Five Nights at Freddy's 1 and 2, you didn't really use the cameras a great deal, apart from maybe getting the crap scared out of you from time to time, but once you worked out a set pattern that the animatronics would take, then it was pretty much just checking on the marionette to make sure the wind-up box was all the way to the top, or making sure Foxy didn't pop out of Pirate Cove and come and scare you. Now, in Five Nights at Freddy's 3, you actually had to pay attention to where Springtrap was, leading him from room to room, making sure he didn't come and grab your booty. However, in Five Nights at Freddy's 4, I want to see some more usage of this, because looking at the cameras, it builds tension. Not knowing where your enemy is going to be next, or not knowing where your enemy is in general, was amazing, and that was one of the best parts about Five Nights at Freddy's 3, when Springtrap would hide in the corner, and you were like, is that Springtrap? Is he in another room? Has he just disappeared? And the whole tension, the whole spookiness, and the atmosphere was just so much more intense, and I want to see this brought back for Five Nights at Freddy's 4. Imagine this Spring Freddy character, or Golden Freddy, or Fredbear, whatever you want to refer to him as. Imagine this guy staring directly in the camera, right at your face. That would be absolutely spine-tinglingly scary, and I want to see some more of the camera usage in this game.
At number 8 would be unique screams and more death animations for each of the animatronics. I know that giving all of these animatronics multiple death animations would probably be overkill, but since it is the final game, why not go all out? In the previous games, some of these characters only come from one side or just flat out jump in your face. All of these terrifying Satan Chuck E. Cheese thingies pop out at you at any given direction, including behind you. But we'll talk more about that later. If they do come from different directions, that's a new animation. One thing I hope Scott does improve on are the death animations. Springtrap was terrifying, but his jump scares were probably the least scariest once you got used to it. Moving on to the screaming, Raz and I think it would be really cool if all the characters had their own unique scream. Again, that's a lot to add, but it will increase in the character's uniqueness and it'll be less repetitive. If Five Nights at Freddy's 4 can beat the original scream from the first game, I will be extremely impressed.
In at number 7, guys, we have the return of the minigames. One of my favourite elements of Scott's games is the devices he uses to tell the story, the hidden parts of the lore that you don't necessarily get from the phone guy. And these minigames returning for Five Nights at Freddy's 4 might actually solve some of these questions. We already know that the gameplay itself is fantastic. It's just very simple, but it's scary and very, very fun to play. However, you can't really tell much storyline apart from the phone calls at the start of the night. So what Scott has done, and it's so interesting and I love it, is these mini-games. Whether they're at the end of the night like in Five Nights at Freddy's 3, or if they're death mini-games like in Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Either way, Scott, please bring them back for Five Nights at Freddy's 4 so we can get all of those juicy secrets on the story. That is exactly why the mini-games returning for Five Nights at Freddy's 4 is very, very important.
Taking our number 6 spot is including the Ultimate Custom Night Challenge mode. As the finale of the Five Nights at Freddy's series, imagine facing every single animatronic, every single form, every single hallucination, everything that's ever been in a Five Nights at Freddy's game. It would be a chaotic masterpiece. But imagine how satisfying it would feel to complete a night facing all of them. Even though the game only came out last year, it would kind of feel nostalgic. Seeing the animatronic style from the first game, the Withered, the toy versions, the Phantoms, it would be crazy. But it will prove a challenge to a lot of the hardcore fans of the game. A lot of the previous challenges are starting to get easy for people.
In at number 5, guys, we've got subtle animations in the camera. Now, what I mean by subtle animations is when you look through the cameras and you see one of the animatronics, maybe the animatronic moves its head to the side, or maybe its arm moves, something a very slight movement that just gets you on the edge of your seat, that gets your jimmies a little bit rustled, maybe it gets your hackles up, your goosebumps start to protrude through your skin. It's just that little sign that there is life behind the animatronic and it is coming to get you. That's what horror games are about. They're about suspense, they're about horror, and subtle animations of the animatronics when you're looking through the camera would add just that extra level of fear, and I would love that. That is exactly why subtle animations would be perfect for this game.
At our number 4 spot, we're hoping for a new game mode or a new game mechanic. We have 3 in mind. A quick turn or being able to face behind you, which would be friggin' terrifying, a free roaming mode, or a co-op multiplayer mode. All of them sound really fun and really favorable, but the free roaming 3D movement mode is probably the least likely to happen, but you never know. Taking away the charm that made Five Nights at Freddy's so big would be a little strange though. The point of the game is to feel tension because you're stuck in one room and you can't do anything about it. It's simple, but it stays scary, and being able to move freely would kind of defeat the entire purpose of what the games are known for. But the idea is still pretty cool to think about, and actually being able to run and hide from the animatronics till morning sounds extremely terrifying. Combining Outlast and Five Nights at Freddy's. The next one is being able to look behind you. We think that is simple enough to be added, but one of the most terrifying sensations is to feel like something or someone is behind you. Mixing that with Five Nights at Freddy's would be brutal. And lastly would be the multiplayer mode, because having a buddy makes everything better. Because challenges are always nice, and being able to compete with people online or with your buddies online. And it sounds so lovely until Foxy comes around and chews on our faces, and then everything else explodes, and then we die, and then it sounds like a lovely morning.
In at number 3, guys, we have got who was the Purple Man and what was his motivation for killing those poor, sweet, innocent little children. There are still so many questions surrounding the Purple Man. There are so many mysteries surrounding why he killed these children. Did he enjoy doing it? Did he get a thrill out of killing these children? Or was he perhaps there was a supernatural element influencing this poor man to go around killing these children? Maybe he just hated them. Maybe he was working at this pizzeria for so long, the kids just got in his way, just kept annoying him, and he was like, here, children, have a free bit of cake, knife to the face. We just need to find about him. We just want to know the Purple Man's biography. If that was in the shop, I would go out and buy it now. We need to know more about him, and hopefully Five Nights at Freddy's 4, the final chapter, will answer all the questions surrounding the Purple Man.
Moving on to number 2, we are hoping for that evil, terrible fan to come clean about the cruel deeds it has committed. I'm just kidding. Our real hope is finding out what really happened to the phone guy. We do not know if he is the purple guy or not, which complicates things, and we honestly don't even know who he is. We just know that he's some sort of employee that used to work in the business. There is no way that he is innocent. He just sounds so suspicious, and we need answers. This is the final Five Nights at Freddy's game, and of course, having a little bit of mystery floating around after this game is released is to be expected, and that's the charm of these games. I would be kind of sad if we didn't have anything else to figure out. What if there's a freaking camera in that fan and we've been watched the entire time? That randomly popped in my head, but I do not trust that thing. I really don't. But of course, enough stalling. Let's go ahead and get to number 1.
In at number 1, guys, we have got story completion. Five Nights at Freddy's 4, the final chapter, is going to be the last game, sadly, of this fantastic series, and there are still so many unanswered questions. We don't know who the victim of the Bite of 87 is. We don't even know who caused the Bite of 87, which animatronic. We don't know much about the night guards we play as. We don't know about the overheads and of the Fazbear Company. There are still so many unanswered questions. I could go on for days. That's what makes this lore so damn fantastic. However, we need some answers. If this is truly the final game, then hopefully Scott is going to answer these important questions. I would still like a sexy little bit of mystery in there, something to intrigue us and keep us talking for years to come over a couple of the issues. However, most of the story needs to be cleared up, and I think that's what Scott wants to do. In my opinion, Scott wants to finish the game, finish his series in the way that he wants to complete the story before handing it over to Warner Brothers to do their movie thing with, and I think this is a wise decision on his part, because it leaves him with the room to complete the story the way he has always envisaged it, because making movies is completely different from making games, and they might tweak the storyline to fit their purpose a little bit better. So that is exactly why in at number 1 we have got story completion. We just need those juicy details, Scotty boy. We just need those juicy details, and I cannot wait to play Five Nights at Freddy's 4, and I'm sure you guys cannot wait either.
So that is our top 10 hopes and ideas for Five Nights at Freddy's 4. I would like to thank Razzbowski for joining me in this video.
Thank you very much, everybody, for watching today's video, and a massive thanks to Trickywi for having me on today. It's been an honor to work with you, and I am so damn hyped for Five Nights at Freddy's 4. It is unbelievable.
So yeah, hope everybody enjoyed. Please leave a like and subscribe, and please go to Razzbowski's channel and subscribe to him as well. He has awesome Five Nights at Freddy's and Pokemon related content on his channel, so go do it. Anyways, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.